Hey everyone, welcome back to another Anime Kingdom review. See by title below, yes, this is episode 6 of my most favorite anime of the winter 2017 season so far, Rewrite Season 2. Yes, I can honestly say that. It's pretty crazy considering when I first saw, obviously, the first season. I'm just going to go ahead and say it was a rushed mess. I'm not saying it was completely, unenjoyable. There were some moments that I really did enjoy and stuff in it, but compared to what it could have been, I was really disappointed. And when season 2 was announced, I was like, that's something that's going to be pretty cool to watch. I'm excited to see how that's going to be, but it definitely was not at the top of what, I was going to end up watching for this season. Yeah, I'm definitely been surprised by how well and how much I've enjoyed Rewrite so far that, yeah, I can definitely say it is my favorite anime of this season so far. At least for, things could change, who the hell knows, but at this moment so far, Rewrite Season 2 takes the top, spot for me, at least for this season. Literally, Moon Route, I love the hell out of it. Terror Route so far has been really enjoyable, and honestly, this episode did not disappoint me either. There was a lot of things that happened in this episode, a lot of questions answered, not answers, question. A lot of questions answered that I had before, and a lot of things finally connecting to the point where we did see at the beginning of the Terror Route, the whole thing in the military stuff. So, pretty crazy episode that honestly I'm excited to talk about it to you guys and everything. So yeah, let's just talk about it. How did I feel about this episode? First off, first things first is finally we do get to see why his name is Bond. I've been wondering that for how long. The first episode of the Terror Route, I was wondering, why the hell are they calling him Bond? And then you guys were like, do not worry, they'll explain it. And yeah, they explain in this one pretty much. It's because of, Guardian. He has a joint Guardian, that's his new name. And it's pretty funny to see this part because it's how Kotaro, acts in this episode with his name and everything. It's kind of like seeing the old Kotaro in, the Common Route and everything, where he was a lot more, funny and charming kind of, in a charming kind of way. He was a lot more kiddish is what I would say. This one so far he's been acting a lot more edgy, angsty teenager kind of and it's just nice to see this Kotaro again, pretty much when he, when he says his name is Suzaki Bond, spy, and even when he's talking to Iko on the phone about, fighting Akane, he's like, yeah, Suzaki Bond. I'm like, oh my gosh, Kotaro, that's the Kotaro I remember. And that I laughed, there was a lot of laughing moments for sure. But it was just enjoyable to see that kind of thing, because like I said before, it's been a lot more serious. And normally, how it was with season 1, I wanted it to be more serious. There was moments where there was comedy that should not have been in there. There's too much comedy, but so far it's been really serious, and seeing these kind of small comedy moments is definitely enjoyable. I've definitely enjoyed it so far on how much they've put in, at least not overdoing it, and then of course this is where this episode we finally get to see, of course, not only why his name is Bond, but why he was in that military thing going on in the first episode anyway. Why the hell was he there? I had questions in the first, in the last episode, does he end up join, he's Guardian, and then he ends up joining Gaia. That's why in the opening he has a Gaia, outfit on, and then later on he ends up just joining the military because he couldn't find the right path, the right answers that he wanted. And in a way it was kind of like that, except of course not the whole Gaia thing. Pretty much his talk with Isaka at the very end is pretty much what cemented him leaving. He's pretty much his life, he's said it's been at a standstill this whole time, and in the end him, letting Kagadi go is what pretty much saved him and gave him that answer, because it wasn't because of, it wasn't in the classroom, he said, it wasn't in school, it wasn't in Martel, and it obviously wasn't in Guardian. So now he's taking his first steps, leaving Japan, and thus that is where we connect to the point where we see him in that military situation at the very, beginning of this Terror Route, obviously because this is one of the fronts that Guardian has, which is a private military company. So there's another of my answers solved. So that was pretty crazy to see in this episode. One of the things I gotta say though is one of the questions I had before as well is, the whole thing on how long has this training been. I got some mixed answers, not gonna lie. Some people said several weeks, someone said couple months. I guess you can kind of, incorporate several weeks to a couple months. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of go with the baseline. It's around a couple months, maybe 2 to 3 months or something like that. So this is where I was like kind of confused because I was like, how the hell does no one recognize him there? Like Equal should have recognized him. Then we get to the point where he was putting his glasses on. He's like, I'm gonna use the blood in my face or something to change my facial features. And I don't know if it's supposed to be really changed, and everyone else is changed, but for us, the viewers, and for if you read the visual novel, it's kind of still looks the same, just so you still know it's Kotaro. But it doesn't really look like there's been any change, any difference, like at all. Is there a small change or something? Because for me at least, there hasn't been. In 4 months, anyone would still recognize him, even if he does like a slight change in his facial structure. That's why Equal, when he has that talk at the orphanage, she's pretty much like, is that her name, Equal? I actually forget now. I'm kind of like, I'm if it is, then awesome, I got the right name. If it isn't, then sorry, but that's kind of just the name that popped in my head for her at the moment. But pretty much, she's like, have I seen you before? Do I know you? And he's like, oh no, he gives a bullshit answer of him being like in show business. He's been on TV once, and he's like, oh okay, and I'm over here like, no, you should definitely know who he is. And it kind of seems like Akane does know, because she seems so. I don't know fully if she's open to just anyone, but she was just easily just walks up to him in that moment when he was in the park, and then even just sits in between his legs on his lap and everything. And it was honestly, Akane is still super cute, and it's pretty cool to see that in these couple months. Sure, she's still can't talk and everything, but she's definitely gained that personality that we all remember from the Kamaru, and where I love that attitude that she has. But yeah, like when he's talking to her, or when Equal pretty much tells her, oh, you like him, huh? And she's just like, just clicking her tongue at him with that face. I was just cracking up, especially when he starts pulling her cheeks, like, oh, I don't know about this, look at this face. And I'm just like cracking up, like, yeah, that face is adorable. Akane, like, I know that you guys told me, like someone told me that for this Terror Root, or at least for now, at least, I'm not sure if maybe later on, but the rest of the girls don't really make a huge appearance. The only two is obviously Akane and Kotori. So it's kind of sad, but happy, because Akane's my favorite girl, so at least I do get that. At least I get her, at least, and yeah, we did get to see Kotori a little bit, like a super small ass cameo in here where she just runs on the side. But that's, of course, shows that in these couple months, obviously, that accident did happen, and she has become a druid, and that's why she was there near near Kagari. To which, of course, this leads to another big thing that I was wondering about, which you guys did explain at least, was the whole flame choice thing. And it's pretty much the theory that Moon Kagari and Kotaro ended up making, and thus that's why all these choices do pop up, just like you guys said in the visual novel. But you can't pick any other choice besides that main choice, because the theory they made was to save humanity, to make it so there was no salvation this time, and thus, saving the human race. So that's why he has no choice but picking these answers. And this episode, it becomes really a huge significant kind of thing that really shows how much of an impact that really does change. Because literally several points in this, when Toka and Arata are running off to the forest, it says let him go or don't let him go, or to follow them or don't follow them. He follows them because it says. Then unlike them, where they pretty much get lost and can't find their way and just find like a scout bird or something, he ends up finding the right route thanks to this thing. And even when he fights that scout hound, it tells him the right like fighting pattern to pick. So it's pretty crazy to see how much that really does help him. And that's another thing that kind of was like kind of weird for me, is that in the episodes before, when he first encountered that with the talk with Kotori's parents, he was questioning it. He was like, why the hell did I get that in my head, kind of thing, Now, it's like he just like accepts that he has no wonder of why he's getting these things in his head, why it actually ends up being the correct choice and everything, and ends up kind of just going with the flow, and going with the flow ends up getting the correct answer, obviously. It was also pretty interesting to see when he does end up letting Kagari go. I'm guessing that, like, at first I was kind of confused because it showed the three answers, which is capture her, kill her, and let her go. And obviously it didn't go set onto one, thing. But I'm guessing it obviously did, because if it didn't, he probably would have captured her or killed her. And I'm guessing if you capture her, it's kind of like the Gaia route or something, and maybe kill her as Guardian. But obviously, his route does not take him that way. His route is to save the world, and that obviously means you have to let her go. And that's pretty much what he does. And it's pretty interesting to see that how much of a significance that really does play on his mind as well, into making him take that choice to end up leaving Japan and everything and join the military. Because obviously his talk with Asaka, the whole thing with confidence and everything, and how Nagai, I'm not really too sure, is she like a main important character or something? Because I'm not gonna lie, with Toka, I actually kind of forgot who she was until like I really looked back and I was like, oh, she was the teacher, obviously working for Guardian, but she was the one that was with Shizuru all the time, and I was like, oh, so that's her. So yeah, I remember Arata for sure. So that guy, yeah, he was pretty stupid in this episode. Literally, when he punches, Kotaro, I'm like, what the hell, man? Come on. And I was surprised that she followed him as well, but whatever. They ended up getting in trouble, and they didn't get, as much praise as Kotaro did, obviously. And it's interesting to see now that, like I said before, because of him letting that betrayal of lying to them and letting, Kagari go, is what pretty much changes his life. Before that, he pretty much explains that his life's been at a standstill. And now that, being in the classroom didn't help, school didn't help, Martel didn't change anything, Guardian didn't change anything, so now he's doing something different. He's leaving Japan, and he's joining like I said, one of the, the fronts for Guardian, which is a private military corporation, to which that is where we end up, in the first part of the first episode of Terra. So I'm guessing that is where we're going to be leaving off, and where we're going to be starting off, in the next episode. So it should be definitely interesting to see how his life changes. Obviously, the first time he kills was shown in, the beginning of the Terra route, but it doesn't really show anything after that. It goes back to, where we've been watching for the past how long. So it's definitely interesting to see, now that he's hit a tragedy like Isaka was talking about, how this will change him for everything going on. Everything, how he's been reacting, will be completely different after he's witnessed a tragedy, which is obviously going to be shown in the next episode. Should definitely be interesting to see where that goes, how that, whole thing happens and everything. But yeah, that was pretty much the episode. Beginning part was obviously he makes it back to his hometown and everything, changes his facial features or something. A lot of key moments with Akane. I almost forgot, obviously, big part of this episode. I almost was like completely glossing over it because we started talking about the military part. But the whole part when he goes into the forest to save Akane, and the whole key thing, we get to see that one guy end up getting killed. That was another part of the Isaka conversation, is that if you're overconfident, things like that will happen. And I literally knew that guy was gonna die. I kind of had a feeling, but I thought maybe that Kotaro would come in and save him, and he would be completely different from now on. But instead, it's more life changing for him, for Kotaro, and I guess the other guy's just dead now. So yeah, he died from a damn CGI Earth Dragon, to which of course the CGI still looks pretty bad. But yeah, at that point though, after he throws up and everything and finds Akane, kills that Scout Hound and everything, like, good job for him. Sure, he got kind of a cheat code in a way, but he was able to kill it, and he helps Akane. But at that point where he puts her in there and starts just putting like leaves on her so he can go and find what's going on with Kagari and everything, I'm over here like, no ways, don't just leave her out here. There's monsters probably still nearby. Plus, you should probably treat her wound before you go off, to see whatever the hell that is. Like, literally, come on, are you kidding me? Oh, man. But that was pretty much the episode. That's pretty much everything that happened. And, of course, it all leads to the point where we saw, like I said before, at the beginning of the episode, the first episode of Terra Root. So I'm definitely excited to see what's going to happen in the next episodes, considering things will have like a different layout, a different group of people, just everything's going to be different. So I am definitely excited to see how, sorry, I need to drink of water. Yeah, my throat is just all crazy because talking for quite a while, obviously. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to see how that next episode is going to be, how everything's going to change for Kotaro, and obviously I want to know what's going to happen with Kotori, what's going to happen with Akane, what's going to happen with literally everything. There's still a lot of questions, honestly, but yeah, definitely another enjoyable, awesome episode that is just literally, it's a mixture of good build-up and just awesome events that have been happening. And I honestly cannot wait. I keep saying it, but I literally cannot wait to see the next episode already. I wish the whole season was just laid out already so I could just watch it all, because that's literally how awesome Rewrite has been for me so far. But yeah, that's all I gotta say, guys. Hope you enjoyed this Anime Kingdom review. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. If there's anything I missed and you want to talk about, comment below as well. And as always, visual novel readers, if there's anything, you know, how did you guys feel about this episode? How did you feel in terms of adaptation? Was, you know, how well was it done? And, you know, without spoiling anything, obviously, feel free to comment your thoughts. Anime watchers only, feel free to comment your thoughts as well. I always like to see, you know, what both of you guys, both anime watchers only and visual novel readers, have to say about this, you know, series so far, because this is one of the series that I really want to know how you guys feel compared to, like, there's other series, other anime that I watch, and sure, I want to see what you guys are thinking, but compared to those, there's no, like, this one, I want to know everything about how you guys are feeling, because so far, I definitely have been enjoying it, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. So hopefully you guys feel the same way. And yeah, like I said, if you did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like. If you haven't already, feel free to subscribe for more content. And until next time, guys, see ya.